Welcome back to Moorish History TV. Did you know the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida were once claimed by Spain, and that black Moors were among the first Africans documented there? The Carolinas were once a part of Spanish Florida. Black Moors were documented in early America. In Spanish slave records from Seville, Cadiz, and Cartagena, we find the term Negros de nación Morisca. This phrase identified black Africans from Islamic regions of North and West Africa, descendants of the Moors. Negros de nación Morisca equals black Moors of Islamic Africa. The phrase Negros de nación de tierra de Moros appears in Inquisition records and baptismal registries. It means blacks from the land of the Moors, describing enslaved black Muslims from Morocco, Mauritania, and Mali. De tierra de Moros equals from the land of the Moors. The phrase Negros de nación de tierra de Moros, blacks from the land of the Moors, appears in Catholic Church records, slave registers, and Inquisition files from Cuba, Mexico, and Florida. These classifications weren't just used in Latin America. They show up in records from places that later became part of the United States: Florida, the Gulf Coast, Louisiana, and even the Carolinas when they were under Spanish claim. These records appeared in Spanish Florida and the Gulf South. When the British entered the slave trade, they used the phrase Moro country to describe Muslim areas of West Africa, like Senegambia. Africans taken from Moro country were often literate in Arabic and deeply rooted in Moorish traditions. Moro country equals British term for Islamic West Africa. Some of these black Muslims arrived in Charleston, South Carolina, and coastal Georgia. One of the most famous was Omar ibn Said, enslaved in North Carolina, who wrote Islamic prayers in Arabic while in bondage. Omar ibn Said, a black Moor in North Carolina. But not all Moors in the Americas were Muslim. Spanish and Portuguese records also documented Judeus Moros, black and brown Jews of Moorish descent. These were Jewish Moors and Sephardic Jews expelled from Iberia, some of whom were enslaved or exiled to the Americas. They appear in records as Judeus Pretos, black Jews, or Judeus de nação moura, Jews of the Moorish nation often described as dark-skinned or African. Judeus Moros equals black Jews of Moorish nation classified in Brazil, Cuba, and Iberian colonies. The same colonial powers that used Negros de nación Morisca also documented Judeus Moros in the Americas, especially in Brazil, Cuba, Mexico, and Spanish Florida. They were free enslaved or crypto-Jewish, practicing their faith in secret. And like the black Muslims they traveled alongside, they carried the legacy of Moorish Iberia across the Atlantic. Judeus Moros, found in Brazil, Mexico, Louisiana, Florida. In colonial Florida, Louisiana, and the Carolinas, Moorish Muslims and Jewish Moors alike arrived through Spanish and Portuguese trade routes. In St. Augustine, some were recorded in church or military documents. In Louisiana, people of color with Jewish surnames and African ancestry appear in colonial censuses. These were not guesses. They were official identities recorded under terms like Raza Judía, Casta de Moros, and de nación Hebrea. Black Moors and Jewish Moors reached early U.S. territories. So when we speak of the Moorish presence in the Americas, we must include Muslim Moors from West Africa and Morocco, Judeus Moros, the Jewish Moors of Iberia and the diaspora, and the millions who were reclassified, renamed, and nearly erased from memory. Their identities appear in the records of Spain, Portugal, and early colonial America, not as myths, but as documented truth. Muslim Moors, Jewish Moors, one legacy. This is Moorish History TV. Like, share, and comment #Moorish America to restore the names they tried to erase. Negros de nación Morisca de tierra de Moros and Judeus Moros, the black Muslims and black Jews who shaped the Americas. If you enjoyed this video, #whitewash in the comments.